Right. All right, absolutely. I request you to stay on with us as we quickly show you the verdict breakdown, the statements, and the decision that matters. Let's quickly put out, let's quickly put that out on our screens. And this is the breakdown, and it states as follows: the Delhi High Court upholds centre's temporary ban on Telegram, holds government followed procedure under Section 69A of the IT Act. Number two, the High Court says that the reasons provided by the government were sufficient in the emergency situation. They've rejected Telegram's challenge on non-supply of reasons. Number three, the court holds centre was empowered under Section 69A to block access to Telegram. Tests of proportionality stand satisfied. Number four, High Court rules government's action was the least restrictive measure available and cannot be termed disappropriate. And number five, 8C stands, in fact, finds the blocking orders well reasoned and free from non-application of mind. Number six, court holds a platform like Telegram that falls within the scope of information under the IT Act. And number seven, finally, Telegram's challenge to the temporary ban has been dismissed by the Delhi High Court. Let me get in a perspective from Advocate Rakesh Kumar Singh, who's been very patient with us. Like I said, the verdict is out, the decision is there for everyone to view, and the reasoning has also been given out. How are you viewing it?
In detail, whatever has come across through you, I believe the ban is temporary in nature. And I also believe that Telegram is banned temporarily because some of the accused used Telegram for committing the crime which they did. The only question which I ask myself, and I ask the entire team here sitting and the people around, whether banning Telegram, it may solve the temporary problem of the exam which is happening after a couple of days. But the larger question which comes, because this is a question of repeated failure. This is not the first time that there has been a leakage or there has been a something like this. So banning Telegram temporarily or even permanently for the sake of argument, is it going to solve the problem? My simple answer which I get is no. It's not going to solve the problem because there are so many like Signal, Simplex Chat, Session, Briar, and Keat, and there is something like VPN.
Okay, all right. So your premises basically is that putting a ban on one application is not sufficient. We need to look at other applications as well in order to make it concrete. Let me get in a perspective from Mr. Prateek Bhajanka, who's a cyber expert. So I'm a little short on time right now, but I want your perspectives over here because the decision has been made. But is that sufficient for the people of India as far as our security is concerned? Telegram has not been the cleanest application, and I'm not just talking about India, but I'm talking about worldwide as well.
Absolutely. So definitely, I mean, this is not a permanent solution. This is a temporary measure to make sure that the modus operandi of the perpetrators and the people who are spreading the fraud, it is broken, and they are thrown off, so that the probability of these attacks or these frauds and this spread of information that is happening right now, especially during the NEET exam, that has been curtailed to a large extent. So I would say this is definitely not going to be a permanent measure, but this is a good temporary measure at the time of the, at a crucial time of the NEET exam that is going on.
Right, absolutely. I'd just like a closing comment from Khushbu Jain, because you've been very patient with us. Your final thoughts, please.
Thoughts, if you look into it, these exams, this is practically, India is not operating in a vacuum. If you look into it, other countries are also blocking into it. And this was, again, I'm saying that this was not out of blue that the government thought of, oh, let's, just ban Telegram out of our whims and fancies. This is practically done following due process, understanding the proportionality test. After that, they have been acting upon it. And if you'll see, it's to do with specific feature. Telegram talks about that you have a feature to edit and delete afterwards. Now you have an intermediary guidelines under the IT rules, which says that if a crime has been committed on these platforms, the platforms are duty bound if the government or the law enforcement agencies or the court request for the person who has done those crimes. Now, because of this edit and delete feature, which is there in the Telegram, is where they could not reach the perpetrator who is committing the crime. So practically the crime was committed. It became a best place to commit a crime and also leave no traceability at all. And that's where they have done for a suspension for a limited time period, because it was an emergency situation, to bring in that trust, to bring in that aspect that the people who are taking these tests are not left in a wake just because government could not perform. So government has rightly performed at the right time, and I'm glad that we, who are the largest users of the internet, are acting upon when it comes to enforcing of our rights of our citizens against these giants who practically do not understand that it is the user, it is the citizen of the country whose rights have to be taken care of. You cannot just look into ignore that part and become, again I'm saying, a breeding ground for the criminals, and let that continue by closing your eyes. I think government is entased to do that, and government has rightly done it at the right time. Now, future part of it, I think there has to be more technology driven answers to it, but right now this was an emergency like situation to bring in that trust back to the examination, which is one of the highest examination in our country.
Right. No, so I have a follow-up question to that, because we as a country and we as a society have become so hooked onto these platforms for our daily work, and that is one of the arguments that was raised as well, that people, their lives, their jobs, so on and so forth, it all depends on it. Given the fact that an application like Telegram has a past that is not good, uh, what should we as a society do to be able to make that distinction that, listen, yes, we are hooked onto a website, but yes, there are also ramifications that are there, and history tells us that it's happened.
I think that's where we need more people. We need more India Incs. To come up with platforms like this, so that there is a competition and we are not stuck in a monopolistic situation with one. When we don't have just one platform or one messaging app where we can continue with, it cannot just be the discussion between you and me on a fun part, but there are a lot of businesses which run on these channels. People have everyday orders coming in and they accept it, and that continues. I think they're also trusting on a Telegram like a channel where one can delete the entire message at any time when they feel like afterwards, becomes a trust issue. So I think when we have more players in the market, we as citizens can not be dependent or cannot be ruled by a monopolistic situation by one of the platforms. And I think that's the only answer we should have. As countries, we should, I don't want to quote example of a China, but we need to have more Indian inks to come up with more technology platforms, including social media, including direct messaging app, and others, so that that sovereignty and security part is also taken care. And it's not just that, I'm not against globalization, but I'm talking about that we need to have more choice as citizens. Once we have more choice, dependency becomes less, and we are not stuck because of one banning for national security or public order by the government.
Right, absolutely. Dr. Adish C. Agarwal, a senior advocate of the Supreme Court, also joins us on the broadcast. So appreciate you taking our time and speaking to us on Newsx. A decision has been made. The verdict is in the favor of the center, and they've made it abundantly clear that there is proper, valid reasoning for upholding the Telegram ban. How exactly do you view the decision that has been made?
See, for good, um, uh, for the purpose of running the government to ensure that papers are conducted free and without any cheating, it is a good decision of the government to ban for the time being. And I also welcome the judgment of the Honorable High Court that they have upheld the ban till 22nd, because 21st is the date of re-examination of NEET.
All right, with